to
I can.
The earlier exercise.
Yeah, the first one. I can control.
I can control.
I can control my.
I can control my.
I can control my breath.
I can control my breath.
I can control my breath and.
I can control my breath and.
I can control my breath and sustain.
I can control my breath and sustain.
I can control my breath and sustain my.
I can control my sustain my.
I can control my breath and sustain my phrasing.
I can control my breath and sustain my presence.
Doing this will ensure that you will be able to control your breath. You will be able to sustain your phrasing. You will be able to speak sentences without running short of breath. And you see, when you are speaking sentences without running short of breath, there is no pressure on your mind. After all, just think about it. What is the function of breath? The lungs, they oxygenate the blood vessels. And when you are, whenever you are speaking, you are actually forcing breath out of your lungs. So that also affects the brain cells if the oxygen level decreases.
There the reading gets.
It gets affected. So what we have to ensure is, if we are taking adequate breath in between, it will become a habit. If it becomes a habit, our voice will not be strained. We will be articulate. There will be less pressure on our mind, and we will also be less stressed out. People whose voices are not strained, generally they are more relaxed because oxygen is going in. Whenever you are nervous, what are the symptoms of nervousness? You feel dryness, shallow breath, choking sensation.
Fast breathing, shallow breathing.
The easiest and most effective way to relax when you are feeling nervous is just sit comfortably. Take a little deep breath and you will find it will become easier. Now even after saying these lines, Shylock, after all he was a money lender, he said, it's my business, I can't turn away a client, howsoever mean he may be. So he gives Antonio the money, but puts some very strict conditions on it. Do we need a cup of tea?
Oh, it's coming.
In those days, they could put any kind of terms and conditions in the loan agreements. There was no restrictions on them. The rules and regulations which we have today. One of the conditions was that if Antonio does not repay the money on time, £1 of flesh from Antonio's body. Today something like this sounds so ridiculous, it sounds so obnoxious and evil. But this is according to William Shakespeare what had happened. By chance it so happens. For some reason Antonio's ships they get delayed, and on the due date he doesn't have the money to repay Shylock. When Shylock gets the news that Antonio is not going to be able to repay his money on time, he says these lines, which are a monologue. And he says, to bait fish withal, everyone.
Bait fish withal.
If it will feed nothing else, it will feed my revenge.
If it will feed nothing else, it will feed my revenge.
He had disgraced me.
He had disgraced me
And hindered me $500,000.
and hindered me $500,000.
laughed at my losses,
laughed at my losses,
mocked at my gains,
mocked at my gains,
scorned my nation,
scorned my nation,
thwarted my bargains,
thwarted my bargains,
cooled my friends,
cooled my friends,
heated mine enemies.
heated my enemies.
And what's his reason?
And what's his reason?
I am a Jew.
I am a Jew.
Had not a Jew eyes,
Had not Jew eyes,
had not a Jew hands,
had not Jew hands,
organs,
organs,
dimensions,
dimensions,
senses,
senses,
affections,
affections,
passions,
passions,
fed with the same food,
fed with the same food,
hurt with the same weapons,
hurt with the same weapons,
subject to the same diseases,
subject to the same diseases,
warmed by the same means,
bonded by the
healed by the
same
same means,
Moved by the same means,
warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer as a Christian is.
warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer as Christian is.
If you prick us,
If you beat us,
do we not bleed?
do we not bleed?
If you tickle us,
If you tickle us,
do we not laugh?
do we not laugh?
If you poison us,
If you poison us,
do we not die?
do we not die?
And if you wrong us,
And if you wrong us,
shall we not revenge?
shall we not revenge?
If we are like you in the rest,
If we are like you in the rest,
we will resemble you in that.
we will resemble you in that.
If a Jew wrong a Christian,
If a Jew or a Christian,
what is his humility?
what is his humility?
Revenge.
Revenge.
If a Christian wrong a Jew,
If a Christian or a Jew,
what should his sufferance be by Christian example?
what should his sufferance be by Christian example?
Why revenge?
Why revenge?
The villainy you teach me,
The villainy you teach me,
I will execute.
I will execute.
And it shall go hard, but I will better the instruction.
And it shall go hard, but I will better the instructions. इसका लास्ट का मतलब क्या हुआ? And it shall go hard, but I will better the instruction.
It means that he will do much worse. What has been done
What has been taught by you
Yeah.
Christians, I will do better than that, worse than that.
worse.
Very severe.
This is the playwright's interpretation
Yes,
of the character.
Yes.
Spoken about 50 years ago.
50 years ago, yes.
Even today it has the same kind of power and impact as it did on that particular day. Now, apart from speeches, there are also some. We talked about loud reading, how that can help us. There are certain passages which are again part of this training, where we have to vary the pace and the pitch while we are reading it out. Other passages don't require us to vary the pace that much, but they require skills of narration. First and foremost, we will look at the first category. I think it is on page, I'll tell you, 6. Page 7 actually. The additional practice pieces. In the second half of the page, there are two paragraphs, two short paragraphs. The first one has to be spoken at a fast pace, high pitch, and then the second part of it has to be, we are on page number 7. The second part of it should be more sedate and at lower pitch. You have to immediately make a transition, you have to immediately change the pitch and the pace. And it's done something like this. With a low moan, the wind bound round the house, rattling the windows and shaking the massive oak door until the iron boards gave way with a resounding shudder. The sickly spectre, now quite clearly defined under the yellow moon, appeared from the forest and glided toward the house. Meanwhile, back in the drawing room, Lady Penelope languidly sipped a long, cool glass of lemonade while listening to the dulcet tones of the flute played by her elegant companion. In one reading, you have changed from a very fast-paced high pitch to a more sedate pitch and a slower pace. Kiran, you want to try?
So rattling the windows and shaking the massive oak door until the iron bolts gave way with a resounding shudder. The sicky spectre, now quite clearly defined under the yellow moon, appeared from the forest and glided towards the house. Meanwhile, in the drawing room, lady Penelope languidly sipped a long, cool glass of lemonade while listening to the dulcet tones of the flute played by her elegant companion.
This requires a little more practice. I think somebody who reads fast, Aparna, you will be able to show us how this can be done. Try to bring about as much change you can in the pace between the first part and the second part. It's important because the next one which you are doing is even more difficult than this one.
Meanwhile की बात slow है ना?
हाँ जी.
From meanwhile slow.
And the key trick, the trick to achieve it is when you reach meanwhile, you take a pause. Meanwhile, back in the drawing room, you take a pause and a deep breath. Immediately, you are able to make a change from a high pitch to a low pitch, from a fast pace to a slow pace.
Outside the house, the weather is violent, but inside the house, Lady Penelope is languidly relaxed and drinking lemonade.
Correct. This is the right visualization which you have probably been able to picturize the way it has been read. Now, if it was read in the same manner, these kind of visual images would not have come. So that is the power of visualization which is brought about through modulation of the voice. Try it out.
With the low moon, the wind wound round the house, rattling the windows and shaking massive oak door until the iron bolts gave way with a resounding shudder. The sickly spectre, now clearly defined under the yellow moon, appeared from the forest and glided towards the mouse. Meanwhile, back in the drawing room, Lady Penelope languidly sipped a long, cool glass of lemonade while listening to the dulcet tones of the flute played by her elegant companion.
And not bad. Important thing is you ask yourself, have I been able to vary the pace and vary the pitch? Prior to this session, the understanding was not there. What we only thought is that we can either speak softly or we can speak loudly. Now we have realized that there is so much more we can do with our voice. It is continuous practice that will enable us to do so.
I think it will be easy in either Hindi or Marathi because we are familiar with the Marathi or Hindi. So dramatization is possible in your own language, not this language, because this is very hard language and it is very
It's difficult but
difficult to capture first and then express.
Yes, it's difficult but possible.
Maybe what you are saying is right, but the important thing is
यही अगर आप हिंदी में बोलोगे ना तो बराबर वो टोन चेंज करेगी जो आएगा वो.
देखिए बात ऐसी है कि हिंदी में वो कुछ चीजें भी होनी चाहिए करने के लिए. अभी आपका ध्यान इस तरफ आकर्षित करने के लिए ये चीजें हमने बिकॉज वी फाउंड देम इन इंग्लिश, हमको ये चीजें अंग्रेजी में मिली और आजकल आप जानते हैं कि अंग्रेजी का भी चलन ज्यादा हो गया है. Since it has become a language of business, particularly if we are working in an environment where we are meeting the kind of customers to whom we are only supposed to communicate in English, then I think this is something which we need to practice. If you can find something, some material,
Then you can use that.
which enables you to bring about this kind of modulation of the voice, and you understand the situation and in what situation, what pitch to use, certainly you can go ahead and do it.
Practice with that.
But till that time, if you practice this, you will find that in any other skill.
No,
आपके पास
I agree with you with my limited this thing. In Hindi language, I don't remember having seen such kind of thing. For example, मैंने कुछ नहीं तो 400-500 किताबें तो हिंदी की पढ़ी होंगी, तो मेरे को तो याद नहीं कभी इस तरह का वेरिएशन आया हो. मतलब मुश्किल है, मुझे पता नहीं मराठी के बारे में, तो इट मे बी नॉट सो इजी टू फाइंड.
देखिए 400-500 किताबें थोड़ी नहीं होती. 400 to 500
पढ़ी
books
होंगी.
are many people, if you add their lifetime, they won't read so many books which you have
Yes, yes.
as a single individual you have read.
मैंने ये ऐसा कभी नहीं देखा, इतना वेरिएशन कभी नहीं.
And this is also something which
हैं? क्या? क्या? महाभारत में नहीं ऐसा वेरिएशन है. महाभारत में नहीं है, रामायण में. वो तो दो है. रामायण सागर भी महाभारत में नहीं है.
अभी एक नई महाभारत भी चल रही है.
Maybe in that.
But you will find that the present Mahabharata will be very different from the classical Mahabharata जो B.R. चोपड़ा की थी.
अच्छा. ये रामायण सागर है.
रामायण सागर ने रामायण बनाई.
रामायण थी. अच्छा.
B.R. Chopra had made the original Mahabharata.
ओरिजिनल महाभारत B.R. चोपड़ा ने बनाई, फिर रामायण सागर जी ने भी बनाई.
अच्छा ऐसा है क्या? दो थी.
और फिर अभी नहीं बनी.
और बीच में ये एकता
भी बनाया फ्लॉप हो गई. वो डेली सोता.
So again the reason why one series did very well and the other has flopped is also again because of the characterization and the way the lines that were given, and particularly the way the characters use their voice. In Ekta Kapoor, we call it Ekta Kapoor because every serial begins with the letter K. Her each and every episode in that series, the actors were trying to project their own personality. Whereas if you have seen B.R. Chopra's Ramayana, you actually feel as if that person is projecting that character. Many of those actors, उनको बाद में कोई रोल ही नहीं मिले because when you look at that character, you only feel that person is can be that character. He didn't get any other. So that is the amount of involvement they had put in, and that can only come through voice modulation, where you are actually able to project each and every word of that character. So आप जोशी जी, if you can find something.
I will volunteer for this.
हाँ जी, please.
ये मुश्किल है, इस आसान नहीं है. This one is not so easy, so I volunteer. Be careful, everybody. I don't know what I'm going to do. With the low moon, the wind wound around the house, rattling the windows and shaking the massive oak door, until the iron boards gave way with a resounding shudder. The sickly spectre, now quite clearly defined under the yellow moon, appeared from the forest and glided towards the house. Meanwhile, back in the drawing room, Lady Penelope languidly sipped a long, cool glass of lemonade while listening to the dulcet tones of the flute played by her elegant companion.